Leave your opinions in comments, tell me why you liked or disliked the video, and I'll improve on that. Want to be a selfish fool? Enjoy your orange hair. I'm a hairstylist. Last Wednesday, between clients, I decided to run to the gas station to get an energy drink and was hit by a car coming out of the parking lot. My own car was totaled. The cops came. Both cars were towed from the scene. I texted my next client, apologizing and telling her that due to a serious accident, I would need to reschedule her appointment. She said she needed her hair done before the 4th of July. I was standing in the street, looking at my car in pieces, on the phone with insurance, fielding questions from the cops, and still texted the salon owner asking if anyone could take my client today. The owner said she'd figure it out and would make sure my client could still be seen. I passed this info on to the client, who said she only wanted me to do it and needed to get it in ASAP. So in this melee, I'm still worried about the client, who is a bad client by the way, and constantly complains about her hair, demands free redos, and only pays about 70% of the typical cost of her service, because she managed to manipulate me into that price point when I was a newer stylist. I see in my schedule that I have absolutely no room to fit her in before the 4th, so I walked back to the salon after my car was towed away and just take her anyways. Once I get in, she doesn't ask if I'm okay, doesn't thank me for taking her anyway, but instead launches into a 3-hour-long brag about all the guys who are super into her and how she's dating a business mogul from Newport. The service goes as usual. I finish her hair 3 hours later, and I'm about to take her cape off and send her on the way when suddenly she has a problem with the color. She says it's too ashy. It's the exact same formula and color I've done on her for years, but today it's wrong for some reason. Trying to remain cheerful and professional, I tell her that I'll put a new toner on her, no problem. At this point, my grandma is on my way with my daughter to pick me up. I text my grandma saying I'll be a little late. I tone the client again and blow dry her for the second time. The client insists that the color is still too ashy. I explain that the second toner I used is the most golden toner that exists, and there's nothing less ash that I could put on her, except for opaque, sort of gold pigment. She's clearly just being a sadistic fool. At this point, my grandma comes into the salon and asks if I'm ready to go. My client is looking at her hair and says, "You need to do something else. I can't leave like this." So my grandma goes back to wait in the car. I decided to use a very gold color and tone it again for the 3rd time. She comes back to the chair and her hair is noticeably less ashy, because it's practically orange. "I hate this," says the client. "I'm going to dinner with the guy from Newport tonight. I liked it better the first time. You need to do something else. Just do it like you did it the first time." "I've done your hair 3 separate times at this point," I said, packing my stuff up. As you know, my grandma and daughter have been outside waiting for me. Unfortunately, there's nothing else I can do, since now there's layers of toners on there, and the 4th layer will only make it worse. I hope you have a great week. I took her payment, which she scoffed and forcefully handed to me, and I left. It was maybe not my most professional moment, but I'd been looking for an escape from that client for years, and it was worth it. Noise. Just say no to her future business. No reason to allow fools to abuse you unless you value money over your mental health. Listen, cut off the clients that abuse you. Stuck on top of the Eiffel Tower? Go ahead and take the stairs. A decade or so ago, we were in Paris in January. As one does, we decided to go to the Eiffel Tower. It was super cold and we got there late, so it was getting dark and colder by the minute. While at the 2nd layer, with the wind getting stronger and the rain starting, it became apparent that the main elevators got stuck or broken. I talked to one of the employees in my broken French and he told me as much. He was very polite and apologetic about the situation, but I was not particularly worried. The tower is old and these things happen. Who was not polite and understanding was the teacher of the American high school group that was stuck up there with us. After yelling at the above mentioned employee and then yelling some more, the employee executed a bit of malicious compliance. He informed the teacher that they can walk down the stairs in the cold, the rain, the wind and the dark. Probably a very uncomfortable and precarious walk. A few moments later, after the teacher and his group took the stairs, the polite employee asked us if we wanted to take the staff-only elevator down. Edit, we are on the 2nd level. Yo, nice. She might have survived this if she had been a courteous douche. I worked at a company that, despite being a multinational, had a very small staff due to its nature, very specialized medical field. This, plus the constant staff absence from the office due to site and field trips, meant that everyone at all degrees of seniority came and went from the head office. and mucked in and did whatever needed doing whenever they were there. Eventually, however, it came to the point of needing a dedicated office person for answering the phone, data entry, filling, etc. so that specialist could focus more on the medical work. And the girl was hired. I was away consulting on a site setup when she started, and this is what happened when I came back to meet her. I got back in the morning and wasn't planning to work immediately after such a long trip. Instead, I was planning on, as I usually did on Wednesdays when I was in the city, picking up my 5-year-old nephew from the school and going to the park with him. We were going to drop off some papers and a case full of medical equipment at the office on the way, so I arrived at the office wearing jeans, with a child in tow. This is fairly unremarkable. Our job schedule is non-standard, and to accommodate this, drop-ins at all hours and various states of sometimes casual dress are frequent. Me. Hi, you must be new. She cuts me off. Office girl, OG. What do you want? Me. Just dropping off the equipment case and some paperwork. OG doesn't bother to reply. Just shrugs towards the back where the case goes. I put the papers on the edge of the desk in order to wrangle the case into its cupboard. OG. Don't put them there, they don't belong there. Me. Where would you like them? OG. Where would I like them? They are nothing to do with me. Just get them out of my way. Me. Takes a deep breath. Remember, she has no way of knowing who I am and my role with the company. Actually, these need to be entered in the computer. So should I just hand them to you or do you have an in-tray? OG. How about you do your work and stop trying to slot it onto me, and that child shouldn't be in here. My nephew, who has been in the office many times, looks startled at this and a bit upset. Me. I understand you were taking over in the office. She cuts me off again. OG. That's right, and as the manager, I need to tell you that in the future you need to dress appropriately and do the work you've given. Me. Another deep breath. Tries to muster sympathy as she is new and possibly hasn't realized the jeans and the child aren't out of line for a quick drop-off. I summon a smile, for a final attempt at making the encounter more pleasant. You know, I never finish introducing myself. I'm OG to my nephew. Don't touch anything. Just because your mother, she meant me, lets you get away with coming in here doesn't mean I will put up with it. In fact, you can go and stand outside. Nephew is confused and distraught at this attack and bursts into tears. Me, suddenly not giving a damn if she's new and losing all sympathy and a smile. Okay, this is gonna be great, yo. No, I don't think so. OG, if you don't like it, you can take it up with the CEO. I am a close personal friend as well as the manager here, and he's happy for me to run the office as I see fit. Take it up with the CEO, she says. Malicious compliance time. I know he will be in shortly, so I decided to wait and do just that. Soon he comes in the door. Nephew, Daddy, runs over and gets hugs. CEO, to me. Oh great, you're back. Have you met OG yet? OG, this is Dr. Blank, my business partner and sister. I hope you've been treating her well. He takes papers off me and hands them to her. Then he looks closer at his son. What's wrong, kiddo? Has someone not been nice to you? We didn't fire her. She just didn't show up the next day. Don't know what happened to her after that. She never contacted us for a reference. Everything after seeing OG realize quite how deep a hole she was in is a bit anticlimactic. Once my nephew had been reassured that he wasn't in trouble, he was over the whole encounter and really just wanted to go to the park as promised, and I wasn't anxious to upset him again. So when his dad arrived, instead of the boy answering him about someone not being nice to him, a paraphrase, since this was about 3.5 years ago, I simply said there had been a misunderstanding about nephews visiting the office, and that OG, my brother and myself needed to have a chat to clarify office policies, duties and the like. She might have gone a little paler at this idea. I was deliberately underplaying things due to my nephew's presence and wanted to calm down myself a bit too. OG knew that wasn't the end of it by a long shot. My brother knows me fairly well and could read between the lines that 1. Something serious was up, and 2. I wanted nephew out of the line of fire before discussing it. So he suggested that 3 of us meet up the first thing in the morning. As I chimed in that, as he had work to do in the office, he could lock up for OG if she would just leave her keys. Him having work to do was fiction, and her leaving her keys wasn't about him locking up and getting them back to her when she comes in tomorrow. Was never going to happen, and we all knew it, but she was out of options, and I was out of craps to give. I was prepared to meet with her. Give her a chance to put her case, etc. Document what happened, pay her whatever was owed, cross every I and dot every T. Though the outcome was dead certain. I wanted it all by the book because she wasn't going to be given any grounds to do anything but go away quietly, or loudly for all I care. But she was going away promptly, comprehensively and permanently. However, she didn't bother to show up the next morning, or tell us she wasn't going to, and that was the last we heard of her. She was only with us 2 weeks, and my brother says her work was okay. To be fair, she does seem to have been polite enough to the very few clients she had any contact with. Perhaps she didn't see them as office rivals. I think her behavior was about establishing an office pecking order, and that's why she was so aggressive, and tried hard to inflate her position and importance, despite being so new. Wow, did she misjudge that? It would fit with the comments from the other staff who met her. Some about being pushy and disputing what was her work. I don't know why she paid out on me in particular, because I was the only woman. There was another, but she was on the site and OG didn't meet her. Because of the jeans and child, maybe she really did just have a bad day and handle it unacceptably. Douche level behavior. But if she'd been a polite douche during this one-sided pecking order contest and apologized after, she might have had a second chance and survived her second week. And that was it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Give me some constructive criticism in comments. Until the next time, stay awesome.